Hello and welcome. You're watching the South Indian, but what's most important, whichever part of India you belong to, it's about us saying no to terrorism, zero tolerance for it. Let me tell you what's happening in our neighboring Pakistan. At least 24 soldiers have been killed and several injured in a suicide bombing attack at a police station in Pakistan's northwestern province of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Islamist terrorists rammed an explosive-laden truck into the police station, resulting in the collapse of the station building, which was also being used by the Pakistan Army as a base camp in the Dara Ismail Khan district. There are reports of terrorists also opening fire at the police station, resulting in a shootout with the security forces. An emergency has been declared in the districts and all educational institutions have been shut following the attack. A recently emerged Pakistan Taliban group, the Tehreek-e-Jihad Pakistan, has claimed responsibility for the attack. As per reports, the attackers used snipers and other weapons left by the United States after they withdrew from Afghanistan in 2020. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province borders Afghanistan and is one of the most sensitive regions of Pakistan, as it is home to a tribal population which is mostly Pashtun. The province is a former stronghold of the Tehreek-e-Taliban terror group and has faced multiple attacks in the past as well. Let's understand what exactly is this group all about. My colleague Aditya Rajkal joins us on the broadcast. Aditya, I beg your pardon. You know, for the lot of people, because of the common names and the constant changes, it's very difficult, except you know that the word Taliban and jihad, these words mean that they have links with terror groups. But for the benefit of the viewers, what group is this?
Well, firstly, this is an attack that happened early in the morning at around 3 a.m. There are a group of around 6 terrorists who attacked a police station in Dara Ismail Khan of the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. This is a district which is and a complete province which has been a stronghold of the TTP for a very long time. These are the areas where the Taliban also got a shelter for years together at the behest of Pakistan. Now, over the last 2 years, ever since the control of the Taliban in Afghanistan, the TTP has again emerged very active in this area, and there are frequent terror attacks that are happening, particularly targeting the Pakistani security forces. In this particular attack, as of now, it is known that around 24 to 25 Pakistani soldiers have died. There are 34 others who are injured, many of whom remain critical at this stage. At 3 a.m., there were 2 suicide bombings that happened that led to the roof of the police station collapsing, and that led to the massive casualties of around 24 to 25. And this is a Tehreek-e-Jihad splinter group of one of the radical Islamist outfits in that particular area. There are many splinter groups in that area working in smaller groups, but most of them are linked to Taliban or the TTP in some way or the other.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but were they also behind the attack on Miawali, which happened a couple of months ago?
Yes, a similar group has been held responsible for that attack, and there are frequent attacks that are happening in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. In most cases, these are lone wolf attacks where 1 or 2 Pakistani military soldiers in checkpoints in different areas are attacked, but this is a massive suicide bombing that has happened. 24 is no less a casualty for Pakistan at a time when they're looking towards elections, and there's a virtual collapse and a crumbling of the state that's happening.
The economy, yes. What was famously said that if you nurture snakes in your backyard, don't think they will not come back to bite you. A kind of a conundrum for these groups which are there, homegrown, now mushrooming. And of course, Pakistan can go blue in their faces denying that there is something like that on their soil. But do you think that they are also emboldened because of the Taliban, which is ensconced in neighboring Afghanistan?
Oh, no doubts about that, Sudha. For the last 2 to 3 years, ever since Taliban came into control, and as I said, Haqqani network and Taliban leaders have had safe sanctuary in Pakistan very long time. And Pakistan at that moment had thought that giving them safe sanctuary meant that Taliban would work as their puppet or a team B for a very long time when Taliban gains control in Afghanistan. Exactly the opposite has happened. Afghanistan, the Taliban and Haqqani network are in control. They have their independent foreign policy, and they are certainly not in good terms with Pakistan. The Afghan refugee crisis in Pakistan is the biggest example, and there are a lot of mudslinging and point scoring that is happening between the Taliban and the Pakistani deep state. The entire Doha peace talks and the Taliban regaining control was also a game plan of the Pakistani ISI. But the Pakistan deep state has eggs on their face now. Now that the Taliban does not listen to them, they have their independent working and functioning. And of course, that's why the Afghan refugees are being asked to leave. And the TTP is going all guns blazing against the Pakistan army as well as the Pakistani state.
So it's the case of Frankenstein.
It is a Frankenstein. As you said, Hillary Clinton said in 2011, if you nurture snakes in your backyard, they're going to bite you. We made several documentaries on that here on News9 Plus.
Absolutely.
And it clearly indicates that the months and years ahead are not going to be easy for Pakistan, not just economically. You look at politically, the kind of clashes that are happening between the civilian leadership and of course the Pakistan army. The Pakistan army in itself has various factions that are actually fighting with each other. And then of course the economy and the security situation worsening.
Aditya, tell me something, is there a pattern which emerges? Because, you know, whatever reports one reads, and most of those reports are syndicated. So, you know, you have a special firm eye on how these things work, considering you look at strategic affairs, as it were. I mean, do you think that this particular group, this splinter group, and also the mother or the father of this particular group, they seem to attack only security forces? Is there a pattern there?
There's a pattern because they see the Pakistani military as occupying forces in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa or the erstwhile FATA region. And of course, they target them. Apart from the Pakistani security forces, there was a statement that came out a few months back by the TTP saying that it will not be just the Pakistani military, but now the Pakistani politicians also that are in our radar. So at a time when there is a temporary government in place, Anwarul Haq is the Prime Minister, and there's a temporary cabinet in place, the security seems to be worsening much more. The Pakistan army seems to be in control, but are they? I don't think so.
Right. So tell me something that, you know, if you look at international forums, of course, Pakistan has been very good at this, the subterfuge, as it were, where they deny that, you know, anything of this is happening. But today, these groups are actually harming them internally, eroding their very existence, almost like termites. The viewers would want to know that why would Pakistani army, which seems to have a lot of gravitas in that country, unlike ours, which is more organized and democratically doing, why would they allow something like this to happen?
Well, Pakistan army for long has had two policies. One policy is to really harp on this Kashmir issue, and the second policy has been to run the Pakistan army like a corporation. So the Pakistan army, unlike other armies in the world, runs like a factory. It runs like an industry. And literally there is a factory. The Pakistan army is actually a trademark. And there are factories that are running in Pakistan. The commanders, the brigadiers and the generals are earning crores and crores of rupees out of it, and every time a general retires, he gets a vast chunk of land and money as a retirement benefit from the Pakistan army, both legal and illegal. So Pakistan army does not care. Their policy is only to harp on Kashmir, to make the Pakistan army's control in Pakistan much more stronger, calling the shots is Rawalpindi, not Islamabad, and at the same time to gain control on the civilian leadership. The civilian leadership beat Imran Khan, who again had close ties with the Taliban, who was known as Taliban Khan for a very long time. So the Pakistan army is certainly in control, but at a time when the economic collapse is happening, the Pakistan army does not want to take the accountability. They don't want to take the responsibility. Hence the caretaker government in power, and next would be another puppet. It was earlier Shehbaz Sharif, before that Imran Khan, and now who knows who they have chosen for this, because Imran Khan for a very long time was called a selected prime minister.
True. And
there would be another, perhaps Nawaz Sharif this time.
Right. You know, I also want to ask you about weapons and ammunition. And also, of course, you know, the way most of it is suicide bombing, and, you know, it doesn't require really great war room strategies, as it were. But what do you think, who is the supplier, as it were? Is there a political kind of matrix here that one is not able to see, or it's very, very obvious?
Well, firstly, arms smuggling is not that difficult, especially in that part of the region, in Pakistan, Afghanistan, the Afpak region. Secondly, once the Taliban gained control in Afghanistan, as is public knowledge, a lot of weapons, a lot of ammunition, a lot of vehicles were left behind by the US Army. And that has gone, as was predicted at that time, to a lot of Islamist organizations. So Taliban, it seems, has sold this to a lot of the terror groups, and perhaps supplied also as almost charity to the TTP. So of course the US weapons are in Pakistan right now being used against the Pakistani military, and secondly there are fears in Kashmir also for a very long time, although not many US weapons have reached the Kashmir Valley, but who knows, tomorrow the same weapons could reach the Kashmir Valley as well. But at this moment certainly the TTP has a lot of those weapons, and those very weapons are being used against the Pakistan military.
There are some voices which come from the Pakistani army of saying that we shall annihilate them, we should see to it that they are completely destroyed. Who are these people who are attacking what we have really fortified in our history of the army? Do you think that is just all hogwash and balderdash and really does not mean anything? Is it, I mean, on the one hand it seems like it's all orchestrated, and on the other hand you have these very strident voices. What do you make of it?
See, the Pakistan army for a very long time has this strategy or a policy of not sharing reality with the people, of lying to the people, of creating this kind of a narrative in their favor. So what has happened in this particular attack that happened in Dera Ismail Khan this morning, there are 24 casualties, and these casualties are not just of course of the Pakistan army, but they are not been admitted by the ISPR, which is the official media wing of the Pakistan military. What has happened is that the Pakistan military officially states that only 2 soldiers have killed, but the local media, the local people who are on ground have spotted 24 bodies that have been taken away in multiple ambulances. The global news agency Reuters has also reported that 24 casualties have been suffered till the last moment by the Pakistan military. But this has not been shared with the public. The same has happened for a very long time, not just at the Af-Pak border, but also at the line of control between India and Pakistan, where Pakistan suffered a lot of casualties, but the ISPR did not give the real figures to the people. It's the same strategy where the global designated terrorists like Hafiz Saeed, Maulana Masood Azhar, Syed Salahuddin, all have been receiving money, safe sanctuary, safe houses by the Pakistani deep state, but they are telling the world, no, we don't know where they are. We certainly don't know if Lashkar-e-Toiba or Jaish-e-Mohammed is running from Pakistan, and certainly there's been no action, and that's why the FATF had to put pressure. Pakistan was in grey list, and there were consequences economically and otherwise for Pakistan. So Pakistan is known for lies, deceit, and not sharing the reality with the people.
Aditya, before I let you go, I want you to tell us that how serious is this threat for India, as it were, because we have history of them coming and actually creating mayhem in our country. So how seriously should this be taken, these attacks?
Sudha, I would say that India needs to be cautious always.
Yes.
I don't see any immediate threat as of now. I see the Pakistani state crumbling on its own. Be it the Baloch rising against the Pakistani military, be it the people in Pakistan occupied Kashmir or Gilgit-Baltistan, or even the kind of minorities that are voicing their concerns all across in Sindh, KPK and other places. And add to that the TTP, which is going all guns blazing against the Pakistani military. I think the immediate concern is for the Pakistani deep state, the military, to regain control, for the political establishment to have some kind of a balance in economy and otherwise. But in Jammu and Kashmir and otherwise, we need to be very cautious and take precautions as we are.
On that note, thank you so much, Aditya Raj,
thank you,
for joining us. And meanwhile, before we proceed any further, watch our special documentary, that is News9, which delves deep into the heart of Bengaluru's notorious traffic woes.
Bangalore traffic is an example of something that has gone wrong with our system.
We have more than 50 flyovers in Bangalore city. If flyover is a solution to traffic problem, Bangalore should not have traffic problem.
According to TomTom Traffic Index 2022, Bangalore is ranked as the second worst city in the world when it comes to traffic.
The speed limit at the ORR is 80 kilometers per hour, but our vehicle has only moved 10 kilometers per hour.
What Bangalore needs is a surgery, but what we have been offered repeatedly are band-aids.
Only on the world's first news OTT. News9 Plus, ahead of the curve.
Namaskara, the South Indian is here and our focus today is on Karnataka. You know, the classic case where the right hand does not know what the left hand is doing. Actually, that's a very good thing according to Thiruvalluvar in Tirukkural, that when you are giving alms or helping someone, this hand should not know what this hand is doing. But in politics, does not work. We have to be in unison. We have to clap together. That's not what is happening in Karnataka, and let me tell you why. The gloves are off. I was talking about hands. Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge was in his elements yesterday in the parliament. You can call it political compulsion or ideological assertiveness, but Kharge proved yet again that it is for no reason that he is president of the Indian National Congress. It happened something like this. Senior BJP MP Shivakumar Modi, during a discussion in parliament on Monday, commented how Congress's love towards other backward communities, that is OBCs, is a farce, and cited the example of Mr. DKS Shivakumar, that is the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka, his stand on caste census.
चीफ मिनिस्टर विरोध कर रहे हो। हाँ, डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर साइन किया मेमोरेंडम पर कि कास्ट सर्वे की रिपोर्ट को डीके शिव कुमार ने सार्वजनिक न किया जाए। अब तो तेलंगाना में आपकी बात में खड़गे साहब
हमारे डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर ही कास्ट सेंसस को अपोज कर रहे हैं, वो भी कर रहे हैं और इन्हों भी कर रहे हैं।
हमने तो विरोध किया ही नहीं, लेकिन जो सरकार में है, डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर है और कांग्रेस के एमएलए है और वीरशैव महासभा के अध्यक्ष है, वो सब लोग विरोध किया है और सरकार को चेतावनी दिया है। अगर इस ओबीसी कमीशन का जो अभी कास्ट सेंसस को अगर पब्लिक करते हैं तो हम विरोध में जाएंगे। स्पष्ट रूप से कहा खड़गे साहब, आप ही कर्नाटक से ही आते हैं।
Let me introduce you to the guests first. We are awaiting Nizam Fauzdar, who is of course General Secretary spokesperson for the KPCC. Vijay Grover, senior journalist, is with us, and of course Professor Champi Puranik, who is a senior political analyst. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I have introduced you to the guests because first let me just have their opening comments, and then I will go back into a bit of recent history as to what really happened on this entire confusion so far as the caste census is concerned. Namaskar. Hello, very nice to see both of you. Vijay Grover, just very quickly, you know, this is a very big story if you look at it. I mean, the president of the Indian National Congress, Mr. Kharge, who has a very, very important hand to have played in Karnataka, you know, during the formation of the government, says कि इनको तो है ही, बीजेपी को तो है ही एतराज़, इन्हों को भी है, as in even he has an objection towards him, and all the upper caste people think alike. Quickly, Vijay Grover, don't you think this is a major attack on Deputy CM Shivakumar?
Well, see, Sudha, the last time when we spoke about this, we were very clear that, the fissures are there along caste lines. It's no longer along political lines. And this is what has come out in the open in the parliament. The fact that, Mr. Kharge chose to say this in the parliament very clearly shows that how the backward communities and the OBCs feel that, the caste census report is being hijacked at the moment and not allowed to be released by the upper caste leaders. And, it's not just DK Shivakumar and the Vokkaligas. We've also seen how the Lingayat community has reacted on this, and they have done it. So these fissures which have now emerged in the castes, it percolates across party lines. So, while DK Shivakumar may have opposed it as a Vokkaliga, we also had CN Ashwath Narayan, who was a BJP, and former Deputy CM who was there.
So you feel that it is more political, it's now become fissures and divide according which is caste based. Professor Puranik, quickly, then I go to the rest of the story. According to me, when I read this in the newspaper and my reporter reported it, I thought, my God, that's some kind of a bomb.
Well, Sudha, it is expected that any time Siddaramaiah perhaps, directly won't attack or put pressure on DK Shivakumar, because Siddaramaiah of present regime compared to his previous regime is a bit weak, or you can say mellowed down. So that kind of whatever confidence or arrogance he had, that's not there. So second thing is, somewhere they had to question, checkmate DK Shivakumar. DK Shivakumar, you remember that last time, as Mr. Grover mentioned, when we discussed, he was with the seers, Swamiji, under the guidance of two prominent Swamijis of Vokkaliga community, and he took a kind of stand in which he said, I will oppose that because it is there with the scientific, whatever.
I'll come to that because the rest of the story is there. I wanted your opening comments. Very interesting. You know, Vijay Grover says now the divide is on caste lines. Professor Puranik says it is about putting pressure on DK Shivakumar. Siddaramaiah does not have the wherewithal. So here Kharge is putting the pressure. Very interesting viewpoints from very senior political analysts, both of them. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, we need to go back a little in recent history. Even as Chief Minister of Karnataka was getting ready to release the caste census in the state, which is an unfinished job since 2015, and saw many twists and turns, two dominant communities, mainly the Lingayats and Vokkaligas, protested against the numbers of their respective communities as projected by the socio-economic census. Deputy Chief Minister DK Shivakumar had even attended a meeting of Vokkaliga leaders and signed a petition and even submitted to Siddaramaiah by the Vokkaliga Sangha dated 15th of November. And he had said, and I am quoting him here, it's very important, look at this turnaround. Politicians from various communities have been rallying around this issue. Similarly, I have to wear the community hat and participate in a political meetings organized by the community. Is it wrong? That's what DK Shivakumar asked. And that finally created a deep divide between Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and his deputy, that is DK Shivakumar. But Mallikarjun Kharge, a man who is from a marginalized community himself, did not mince words when in Parliament Sushil Kumar Modi threw him a wager and asked, Mr. Kharge must tell us, when will your government make the caste survey report public? The Deputy Chief Minister signed on a petition against making the report public. This is what Sushil Kumar Modi asked Mr. Kharge. You just saw that also. It is then that Kharge turned towards him and also Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi, and he also trained his guns on DK Shivakumar and said, if we have that bite, we should play it out again. He said he is also opposing, you are also opposing. He said both are one in this issue. This is the character of caste. Upper caste people will be united internally. Almost like a school principal berating an errant child. However, DKS has also issued a clarification. Listen in.
हाँ, डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर साइन किया मेमोरेंडम पर कि कास्ट सर्वे की रिपोर्ट को डीके शिवकुमार ने सार्वजनिक न किया जाए। अब तो तेलंगाना में आपकी बात में खड़गे साहब
हमारे डिप्टी चीफ मिनिस्टर ही कास्ट सेंसस को अपोज कर रहे हैं, वो भी कर रहे हैं और इन्हों भी कर रहे हैं।
और वीरशैव महासभा के अध्यक्ष है, वो सब लोग विरोध किया है और सरकार को चेतावनी दिया है, अगर इस ओबीसी कमीशन का जो अभी कास्ट सेंसस को अगर पब्लिक करते हैं तो हम विरोध में जाएंगे। स्पष्ट रूप से कहा खड़गे साहब, आप ही कर्नाटक से ही आते हैं।
Census has to be done in a very systematic way. Including my own house, I am not known as Kamara. I just declare elections from the registry. We have in a system because whatever one census happens, they should get the right property. Whichever the population is. For example, for minorities, as per the population, they will have the right. For ST, in our state, we have a restriction. As per the population, they will have their funds allotted to that. They are asking a justification that there should be a proper scientific way of approach. We believe in economic survey. We started on an economic survey. We believe in I fully endorse the Congress party's commitment towards the all sections of action. It is not only backward, and even I am a backward class man in the national report. We are also backward class. We are also backward class. It is not that being a party president, we have to look at every section of the story. That is more important. We stand by the commitment of the Congress party.
So are the chinks in the Congress's armor showing clearly? Is the Congress split between its dilemma of being a party of the backwards as against senior ministers who are playing big time? Spoilers, we started our debate with Vijay Grover and Professor Puranik, and also joining us is Nizam Faujdar. Nizam Faujdar, you know, you say one thing, you say another thing. I think it's a big bomb, as it were. Mallikarjun Kharge almost sounding like an elder who is berating an errant child when he says, "Ye log to aise sochte hain," you know, pointing towards, you know, people, senior leaders of the BJP, and also saying, "Ye bhi aisa hi sochte hain." He says that people who are upper caste or dominant caste seem to think alike. They are against caste census.
No, Sudha, no, I don't think so. This is the way we should look at. If BJP is so concerned about the backward classes, they don't have to raise this issue within the parliament and say that the Congress is not asking or Congress is opposing this, you know, caste survey. If Mr. Modi, Amit Shah, and the BJP as a whole are looking at bringing the caste equality and bringing the justice to every caste which is there in the country, they should go ahead and do a countrywide caste survey. Why are they not doing it? Why are they playing petty politics within and say, you know what, आपका ये नेता बोलता है, आपका वो नेता बोलता है, आपकी नियत में अगर सच में अगर कास्ट सेंसस करवाना चाहते हैं तो आपको करवाना चाहिए।
मल्लिकार्जुन खड़गे ने जो बोला, ठीक है निजाम, अगर खड़गे साहब ने जो बोला, whatever Mr. Kharge said, how should one decode it, Nizam?
No, I think it was a clear answer by Mr. Kharge, say with a lot of sarcasm. अगर वो कहते हैं तो आप क्यों कहते हो?
अच्छा, so he didn't say, he didn't mean DKS at all. He didn't mean DKS.
No, he did. It has to be understood. It has to be understood, Sudhaji. The very simple answer to this whole fiasco is that why is BJP not interested in doing this caste survey?
All right.
If they have to give their valid reasons, they're not giving their reasons. Yes, in every party, some people may have some dissent on some issues, but that should not be taken as
this
a party
is not
as a whole.
dissent. This is not dissent. This is a bomb. This is not a dissent. Dissent is possible. You have said many times that ours is a democratic party, Sudha. We can speak whenever we want to speak. All that is very good. I also like a democratic setup. But this is a bomb. There has to be some or a protocol when you are running a party.
Given a clarification.
No, that clarification. No, he said no one came to my house.
He has given
either DKS is right or either Mallikarjun Kharge ji is right. I would rather back for Mr. Kharge. I'll come back to you. No, wait a minute. Yes, sir.
Let me answer quickly to 20 seconds. 20 seconds. 20 seconds.
Boliye, sir.
During 2013 to 2018, in the leadership of Siddaramaiah, DK Shivakumar ji was part of this entire process. He knows it is scientific. What he's simply saying is that there has to be some economic background and economic capability, and it has to bring he's basically saying there has to be another layer of economic.
Nizam, why are you struggling, Nizam? Nizam,
no,
I really, you're struggling. The word is, he said it should be scientific. He thinks it's unscientific. That's what he said. Vijay Grover, I want to know one thing. In the larger political spectrum, if you look at it, Vijay Grover, the point is that the Congress party, you know, in Gehlot and in Chhattisgarh has lost whatever little leg space it had created amongst the backwards. Aap OBC bole, kuch bhi bole. The thing is, Rahul Gandhi goes to town, tom-tomming, you know, backward caste ko dena chahiye, whatever it is. I think they've really, BJP has played an excellent game. If you look at Chhattisgarh tribal, if you look at what you may call it, you know, Madhya Pradesh is a Yadav. Today, of course, it's a Brahmin plus, you know, there is also a Rajput in Rajasthan. But I'm asking you this, that is it a game being played? Some people may say, listen, it's all a game. Kharge ji will keep saying backward, backward. Siddaramaiah will keep saying ahinda, and Shivakumar will keep saying Vokkaliga, Vokkaliga. It's just a game. They want to keep everyone happy.
Well, Sudha, it's true for the Congress and it's true for every political party. Unfortunately, the heat is felt by the person who sits on the hot seat. And at this juncture, it is the Congress which is sitting on the hot seat, and we are discussing the Congress. The same fissures, the same divide exists even in the BJP, and we've seen it in the JDS, where the Vokkaligas are rallying behind H.D. Kumaraswamy. So clearly, this is something where the Congress finds itself in a bind at the moment because of the open dissent that we are seeing, the way D.K. Shivakumar showed on the 15th of November, and the kind of open rebuke that he's got today in the parliament from Mr. Kharge. So clearly, this is something where the fissures are out in the open. But if the tables were to be reversed, I'm sure you'll find that the Lingayat community leaders and the Vokkaliga community leaders and the backward community leaders in the BJP also would be in a similar kind of debate internally. But that is not visible because they are in the opposition, and we are here
Sure,
seeing the
but like you
divide in the
said,
government.
whoever, Vijay, you said whoever is in the hot seat, he or she, they get exposed more. And the point is that if the fissures are out in the open and they soon will become craters, then it's not good for any party, and they had a fabulous victory. Requesting all of you to please stay back. I have to take a break. I'll just be back. I have to take a break now. Time for a break. But I am coming back, and we are discussing about how Mallikarjun Kharge rapped DKS in Parliament. I have 3 guests, Professor Puranik, Vijay Grover and Nizam Fausda. Don't go anywhere.
BrahMos, stealthy, lethal, precise. It flies at 3 times the speed of sound and cuts through a warship like a hot knife through butter. China's navy has threatened its neighbors, and they are turning to the BrahMos for protection. The warship killer. This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
Pakistani spy agency ISI's sinister plan to target India. Training women to honey trap top civil and military officials. Counter honey trapping ops initiated by India. But gullible victims still caught in the web. Top military intelligence experts break down the web of deception. Colonel Hani Bakshi explains the phenomena of honey trap.
जहाँ पे भी आपको लगेगा, उनको लगेगा कि there is a person who is susceptible to women, who's making a lot of women friends on the social media. That is where they will make a spoof account and then start luring the person.
Colonel Pavitran Rajan decodes the psyche of the victim and the predator.
But when you go up the chain, no one enforces it to people at the top. That disciplinary regime and the security regime is not enforced at the top. And they usually have a public profile where it is much more easier to approach that person.
A News9 special on how modern technology has added teeth to the ancient spying tactic.
Our story takes you inside Pakistan's honey trap machine.
This and more streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now. China won't let us rest easy on our borders, but they will keep flooding our markets. What does Xi Jinping really want?
I think he wants the Indian market, no doubt about it. It's really a matter of showing their dominance.
India's great Chinese conundrum.
Nobody can contain it. Not the United States, not China, not anybody else.
Frenemies. This and more streaming on the world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
Welcome back. We are discussing about how Mallikarjun Kharge, President of the Congress Party, rapped Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka in Parliament while quoting caste census and said that not just the BJP but even he has opposed the caste census, and he also said that people who are of a dominant caste always think like that. Let me just go back to the guests who've been waiting patiently. Thank you for your patience. Vinod, I beg your pardon. Vijay, you were saying something. Do you want to finish it before I go to the professor?
Yeah. See, as far as the fissures that have existed or have now come out in the open in all these parties, one of the things, as I told, the Congress is suffering from the fact that it does not have a consolidated base, and we saw the impact of this in the 3 states, where despite the outreach that Rahul Gandhi made to the OBCs, he could not win their hearts, because there was no kind of commitment that was visible that he would be able to do something, because there is something that was missing. That despite him talking about OBC, the OBCs did not come behind the Congress. Clearly, that is where they lose out, because the upper caste somehow seem to be rallying behind the BJP, and that gives it the edge in terms of finishing the election. So that is where the Congress, despite making all these noises about the caste and the caste outreach and the caste census, somehow is not able to show its sincerity, and that we saw in these 3 elections. Now, what will be the impact of this in Karnataka? That could be something which will be very interesting, and I don't think so that it will be very nice for the Congress, because this kind of a divide, when it comes out in the open, the government certainly feels the jitters.
Absolutely. Professor Puranik, the thing is that when a government speaks in a folk tongue, particularly on very serious issues, there have been several things, of course, Mr. Siddaramaiah and Mr. DK Shivakumar have had differences of opinion even about, appointing people to the corporations, MLAs, etc., and they've given different statements. Fine, it happens. I will take it as democracy in the Congress party. But this particular issue, because it concerns the caste, don't you think that it is sending out a very, very poor image of the party amongst the people?
Sudha, I agree with you. And also, we all know that caste is a very, big source or important kind of, support base for all political parties, whether it is a backward class or upper caste or whatever it is. But the very fact that Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge has made a kind of straight attack on DK Shivakumar in the parliament, which goes on record, it cannot be erased. He cannot say that, I just said on the spur of the moment. It was a kind of a feeling that he had in himself. And probably, the Mr. Modi, the spokesperson who questioned that to Mr. Kharge, he must have provoked it also. So it is possible. But it is a fact that DK Shivakumar, I have a strong evidence to show that he has agreed with the Swamiji, saying that totally we will oppose the report. That's it. Because his argument is that it is not scientific and it has not been approved by the secretary or signature and etc. And also other issues where his own party, Shiv Shankarappa and others of Lingayat community and some other also, they are also opposing. So Mr. DK Shivakumar is not an ordinary person. He is also a tough guy. He would have been chief minister had he been, given the chance by central government, the high command. But that apart. Now what I'm saying is, DK Shivakumar is going to stand by what he has said about the report. I don't think he will retrace. Now that Mr. Kharge has told him that he also joins the upper caste gang, he will definitely say, my caste, my community is more important to me, which he has also said. And I'm just repeating what he has said. So therefore, all is not well in the Congress. My friend Mr. Nizam Fauzdar may say that, it's a statement or opposition of some people. He is not some people. Shivakumar is a power center. And that, I think, is a very serious issue, which you mentioned that the state Congress should worry about. And after the debacle in the 3 states in the Hindi belt, perhaps, Congress has to rethink, why this kind of division.
And, very well said, Professor. And I think caste census has to do with the people of the state, people of this country. It's not the fiefdom of politicians. They owe it to the people. I need to know that what is it. I mean, it's not a jagirdar ki, aap jagir nahi hai kisi ki. So I want to ask Mr. Nizam Fauzdar that Mr. Nizam Fauzdar, with the thing is that this seems to be a millstone around the Congress party's neck. more than the Congress party, around the government's neck. There is a difference between the party and the government, as we all know. I am asking you, with Mr. Hegde's been given an extension, then suddenly we hear no, he is going to stand for elections. Then we hear, oh, are there signatures or not of Anbukumar, so on and so forth. I want to ask you that now that Kharge ji has said very clearly कि बस इसको लाओ, and even under duress, Mr. Shivakumar, even in that bite, he says, well, no one came to my house. So you see, Mr. Shivakumar also has a very strong voice, like the professor has said. When do you propose to bring out the caste census, Mr. Faujdar? The people of Karnataka would be very, very interested in knowing that.
We have asked for 30 days for finalization and creating the new docket by the Mr. Hegde. Now the question again I'm asking is very simple. Congress party has promised, and we will stand by the promise, and we will definitely release this caste survey. There's no doubt about it. Whatever does the BJP try to do and play the divisive politics, we will stand by and we will make sure we will release the caste survey. But let me ask a simple question to the opposition and the central government. Itna dar kyun lagta hai? What is that stops? What stops you from giving justice to the people who are bad? What is that?
I've lost his audio. Unmute yourself, Nizam. Mr. Faujdar, if you can unmute yourself, sir. He can't hear me. He can't hear me. Vijay, I want to let's fix his audio and then I'll go to him. Vijay, I want to ask you that it is also because during the elections we saw that the Vokkaligas did not go to their traditional kind of go-to party, that being the JDS, and they came to the Congress in hordes. Do you think this is also a very clever tactic that you keep the Vokkaliga, I support the Vokkaliga debate alive in people's minds? Vijay Grover.
Well, see, as far as I want to talk of the polarization of the two major parties. The Vokkaligas this time around ride with the Congress to a large extent, whereas the Lingayats were with the BJP to some extent. But they are with Yediyurappa and Vijayendra solidly. That I foresee as far as 2024 is concerned, and there should not be a thing. But clearly, one thing that we need to understand, while so much debate is happening on the caste census, so much of discussions happening, it was, as you very rightly said, supposed to benefit the people of the state. And I don't see that this report, even if it's tabled in the next 30 days, making any impact on the lives of the people. Because one thing we are very sure that apart from the political parties,
Vijay, now your audio has gone. No, seems to be some problem. Professor Puranik, I want to ask you what I was asking Vijay Grover, that do you think keeping the Vokkaliga debate alive is in more ways than one a very clever tactic for electoral politics by the Congress party, because the Vokkaligas almost abandoned the JDS and went to the Congress and voted en masse?
Yeah, Vokkaligas definitely have stood by Congress party, and also they are fully behind DK Shivakumar. Though Kumaraswamy says that now by joining BJP, I will see that the Vokkaligas come back. These are all electoral games. But the coalition of whatever the interest that take place, that is purely based on the caste considerations. That's the whatever the rule, the thumb rule of electoral politics. So for 2024 elections, if Mr. DK Shivakumar takes a stand in favor of the Vokkaliga community, not per se, but also to say that the particular report of Kantaraj committee is not scientific and there are defects in it, and that has to be rectified, etc., etc. I think the report may be made public before 2024 elections, which is going to be very risky for Congress. But that report will not be implemented because till 2024 elections, they want to know where they stand, and that particular question is, I think is a very bigger issue that the Congress party has to take care of. And after the debacle in the north and in the belt, I think the south, if it lets down Congress, It will be a big setback. So
All
therefore,
right.
in the present context, Mr. DK Shivakumar has taken a kind of stand which is a realistic. I would say, as a politician, as a technician.
No, but not as the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka, Professor. I don't agree. But I have 2 minutes left, and I'm going to Nizam, whose audio I had lost earlier, like I lost Vijay's also in between. I'll get it checked. But Nizam, go on. I have 2 minutes.
Sudha, very simple question. Our promises will definitely be delivered. We will release the caste survey. But the question to the BJP and everybody is that what stops you doing? Why are you not taking that step? और एक ब्राह्मण मिनिस्टर ठहर के कहते हैं कि आप लोगों में क्षमता नहीं है. Why are you so sadistic in that nature? Why? Mr. Joshi could be more humble. He comes from a very high upper caste. Why is he not humble enough to say, यार मुझे जितना मिलता है मेरे साथ के लोगों को भी इतना मिलना चाहिए. इनमें इतनी दरिया दिली क्यों नहीं है कि ये कहते कि let us do it and give proper justice to everybody. Why is that BJP constantly says that we are not interested in social justice?
All right,
the BJP has to answer, Mr. Modi has to answer, everybody within
I've
BJP has to
completely
answer
run out
this.
of time, but Nizam Faujdar, कहाँ से politician बन गए आप? आपको तो शायर होना चाहिए. Thank you so much, Vijay Grover. Thank you, Professor Puranik. Nizam Faujdar. As always, such a pleasure speaking with all of you. Up next, a special documentary on the Maratha community struggle for inclusion in the OBC list. And with that, the South Indian says, Vanakkam, Namaskara, time for me to go, but lots coming on the other side.